Greetings, Exo Fighters. Hope you're having a wonderful day. It's Haz here, and I thought, well, I already have a 5 tips for starting out Exoprimal video, so why not make another one with the greatest mistakes I see in my games? So here's 4 mistakes that I usually encounter in my games, and are probably the reasons why we lose, so let's talk about them a bit. If you're interested in similar guides and videos, or even just Exoprimal news, make sure to subscribe, and I'll keep you posted. So first, the most obvious mistake that can happen in games? A bad team composition, and I'd say most people already know this. Having 3 tanks or 3 supports or even 4 assaults and 0 tanks or supports is just not gonna cut it, maybe at the start, but as you unlock progression and get harder games, it just won't work at all. Good thing about Exoprimal is that you can switch your exosuits whenever you want. You don't even have to switch between waves, you can just swap in the middle of it, and that is a huge and great advantage that you should make use of. And if you're worried about your ultimate ability, don't worry, you actually carry over your overdrive charge to the new exosuit without any loss. So this way you can even just swap an exosuit to bring in a better ultimate for a boss fight. I know that maining an exosuit is popular, I also tend to stick to one if possible, but Exoprimal is built in a certain way that exosuits counter specific situations in Dinosaurs, and the exact opposite is also true. Some Dinosaurs will counter your exosuits as well, and make a wave completely miserable. Best example is that a good roadblock can remove all the threat from a Triceratops or even a Carnotaurus in most cases, especially when we're talking about an objective defense mission, where most teams lose because their objective gets destroyed and it needs recharging every 5 seconds. Bringing in that roadblock can eliminate all that threat. Same way, a good Zephyr and roadblock combination can make a Triceratops fight a joke, since their attacks have more stun modifiers than other exosuits and the Triceratops will be toppled more often. So experiment with different exosuits and don't be afraid to bring them in. You might be surprised how different and more dynamic the game is going to feel like when you play multiple exosuits in a single game. Next mistake is a bit less obvious, but still a big reason a lot of teams lose, and that is ignoring ranged dinosaurs and threats. Sure, at the start you only get a bunch of pteranodons, they aren't really a big threat, but later on when you get their neo variants, or you get a lot of sniper neosaurs, that is when things get a bit heated. When there's a lot of small dinosaurs around, it is easy to get lost in all the chaos, but as an exosuit with ranged weapon especially, it is important to keep track of your surroundings. And while a lot of people complain or might have even disabled Leviathan repeating the same summoning sounds, after 80 hours in the game I can definitely say that isn't a faulty design. But it's actually an incredibly important mechanic, and I bless Leviathan's little heart every time they announce dinosaur spawns, so I know what to look out for. Sniper Neosaurs can one-shot a lot of exosuits with their bursts, so they should not be left alone for that reason. But Flying Neosaurs also usually have a large area attack that can also destroy huge defense points or leave the ground burning, which makes it impossible to be there with some exosuits, so taking them out or at least stunning them with the Witch Doctor helps a lot, or if you need defense, bring in a roadblock. Lastly, it happens so many times that the objective is to just finish 4 flying dinos and everyone is ignoring them. So never forget about the objective and always keep looking at the top middle part of your screen. Alright, so this one I believe is a famous topic and I'm not going to be the only one mentioning it: point defense. Please, if it is a point defense mission, stay in that silly zone. During defense missions, there's always a designated amount of players required for maximum charging, usually just 4, indicated by the charge marker on the objective turning into gold. So as long as it's gold, you're good, but anything below that, you should think about if there's any good reason you aren't in the zone. So this part is straightforward, and there isn't much to argue about, but I also feel in some cases staying in the zone is one of the greatest mistakes my teammates do, and that is when there are large dinosaurs spawning during defense missions. In this case, you should always look out for who is being targeted, and if it is you, you should immediately leave the zone and take the dinosaur out of there, as if you keep the Carnotaurus right next to the node and it keeps being destroyed every 5 seconds, well, you aren't going to win. And it is a very good idea to bring in a roadblock here, even multiple of them if you have to, since you don't have to kill anything, you just keep the zone safe and your team alive. So all in all, stay in the defense zone if it's safe, and leave if there's a large dinosaur. Don't let it destroy it. Finally, this is an extremely specialized tip or mistake, I know, but it is so common and it is such a big deal that I think it's worthy to mention among the biggest mistakes at this point. Now, a lot of players don't have time to play all characters or exosuits, but there is one important mechanic that everyone should know about, and it is about Murasame. Murasame is an offensive tank suit that has a counter ability requiring dinosaurs to attack them in order to charge up their abilities in their sword to deal significantly more damage, while otherwise they can be borderline useless. It isn't just a counter, but it is a timed buff they receive, and without it your team is losing out on tons of damage. So when there is a Murasame on your team and they run into a crowd of dinosaurs, don't be a deadeye throwing in a grenade there, don't be a roadblock taunting all the raptors away from them, and certainly don't be that witch doctor stunning all the dinosaurs. But please wait until you see them flying up in the air, perfect indication that their counter was successful, and then you can go ham as much as you like since they're buffed. This is very important tip since almost every game has a Murasame in them with how popular the character is, and it is the only exosuit that requires proper coordination from the team in order to fully work, so help your Murasame teammates and don't work against yourself. But those are my 4 mistakes that I usually encounter the most in Exoprimal. If you have additional mistakes you usually see or you have any comments about the ones mentioned, make sure to leave them below this video, but also since it was asked, if anyone is looking for a community Discord for my channel, we have a large server with an Exoprimal dedicated section to it, so feel free to join in, it is in the description of this video. Thank you for watching everyone, have a wonderful day wherever you are, and I'll see you all the next time.